800 years ago, the world government believed they had won. Joy Boy was gone. The ancient kingdom was erased. And the people who stood beside him vanished from history itself. But what if they misunderstood something fundamental? Because in One Piece, people die, but their will does not. And what if Joy Boy was never meant to return alone? Because the deeper we enter the final saga, the more terrifying this pattern becomes. The Straw Hats are not random outcasts gathered by coincidence. They are inherited echoes of Joy Boy's original allies, not literal reincarnations. That would not fit One Piece, but inherited roles, inherited purpose, inherited destiny. And once you notice the pattern, it becomes impossible to ignore. The Iron Giant did not awaken for Vegapunk. It did not awaken for the Marines. In Egghead Chapter 11:10, it awakens the exact moment the drums of liberation echo across the island, as if it had been waiting, not just for Joy Boy, but for the return of the people who once stood beside him. Because think about it. If Joy Boy truly fought against the 20 Kingdoms during the Void Century, there is no way he fought alone. That war was too massive, too global, too destructive. Joy Boy must have had his own crew, a legendary alliance powerful enough to challenge the entire world. And the Straw Hats mirror them perfectly. Luffy is the clearest parallel. Egghead practically confirmed he inherited Joy Boy's will. Gear 5, the drums of liberation, the sun god Nika. Everywhere Luffy goes, oppressed nations are freed. Alabasta, Dressrosa, Wano. He does exactly what Joy Boy was described as doing 800 years ago, liberating people. But Luffy's true power was never strength alone. It was his ability to gather people around him, and that may have been Joy Boy's greatest power too. Because every Straw Hat feels less like a random crewmate and more like a missing piece of an ancient war machine. Zoro is not just Luffy's swordsman. He is the blade protecting the dawn itself. Throughout One Piece, legendary swordsmen are always tied to resistance. Ryuma defended Wano from invaders. The samurai resisted the world government for centuries. Even Zoro possesses Conqueror's haki, the spirit of a king. Yet he willingly kneels beside Luffy, not as a servant, but as a warrior who believes in something greater than himself. Exactly the kind of fighter Joy Boy would have needed beside him during the Void Century. But then the theory evolves beyond simple crew parallels. Because to fight a global war, Joy Boy wouldn't just need allies. He would need infrastructure, knowledge, technology, an arsenal. And suddenly, Robin and Franky become two of the most dangerous people on the sea. The world government fears Robin more than most pirates. Why? Because she carries the one thing capable of destroying the throne itself: truth. The scholars of Ohara inherited the will of the ancient kingdom's historians. And in chapter 1066, Oda confirms Ohara was preserving knowledge the world government feared more than weapons themselves. And Robin inherited their will. She's not simply uncovering history. She is rebuilding the memory the world government erased 800 years ago. Every poneglyph she reads reconstructs the lost world piece by piece, meaning Joy Boy absolutely must have had someone like Robin beside him. A keeper of forbidden truth, a guardian of memory itself. And then there's Franky. Egghead changed Franky's importance completely. Egghead revealed the ancient kingdom possessed technology so advanced that even Vegapunk admitted modern science still cannot fully replicate it. And suddenly Franky stops feeling like comic relief. He becomes terrifying. A self-made engineer capable of creating impossible inventions. Even the Thousand Sunny now feel symbolic. Not just a ship, but a vessel carrying inherited will toward the final war. And then Oda introduces the Iron Giant, an 800-year-old machine connected directly to Joy Boy. That changes everything, because giant machines do not build themselves. If the ancient kingdom possessed technology advanced enough to survive centuries, then Joy Boy's crew needed engineers capable of creating it. Franky may not simply parallel an ancient ally. He may represent the rebirth of the ancient kingdom's lost scientific legacy itself. But the deeper you go into this theory, the more important Nami becomes. Because Nami is not simply a navigator. She understands the language of the world itself. Storms, climate, ocean currents. And Oda repeatedly treats weather in One Piece like something almost supernatural. Her Climatact already feels strangely connected to lost technology, especially after Egghead introduced scientific inventions that blur the line between science and myth. Even old Ohara imagery and ancient sky civilization symbolism constantly connect the forgotten world to weather and the heavens. And then there's Belmare, a woman who sacrificed herself so inherited hope could survive, which mirrors one of the core themes of the Void Century itself, protecting the future long enough for the dawn to finally arrive. Think about her dream carefully. She does not want treasure. She does not want power. She wants to map the entire world. And if theories about the Red Line are true, then the world itself may once have been united before the Void Century shattered it apart. Meaning, Joy Boy would have needed someone capable of guiding humanity back together. Someone capable of navigating the original world. Nami is not just guiding Luffy to Laugh Tale. She may be guiding the world back toward freedom itself. And then there's Sanji. Not just a fighter, not just a cook. Sanji represents warmth, protection, sustenance. In every arc, Sanji feeds the starving and protects the weak. Even in hellish situations, he carries compassion into darkness. And Oda constantly connects Sanji to fire, flames, light, heat, the wings of the Pirate King. If Luffy represents the sun, then Sanji represents the flame protecting its light from being extinguished. And then the Lunarian symbolism enters the story. By the time Egghead begins, Sanji's flames no longer feel symbolic. They feel inherited. A race associated with fire and gods. Suddenly Sanji's role feels much bigger than anyone realized. Because in a war against the entire world, Joy Boy would need more than warriors. He would need people capable of keeping hope alive. And this is where the crew stops feeling accidental entirely. Usopp carries stories. Brook carries memory. Chopper carries compassion. Each Straw Hat preserves something the world desperately needs. Hope, joy, healing, belief. And maybe that is why the world government fears the Straw Hats more than Roger himself. Because Roger had the power to discover the truth. But Luffy may be the first person in 800 years to possess the exact crew capable of changing it. Roger reached the finish line, but he was too early. And maybe now we finally understand why. Roger had Rayleigh. He had Gabon. He had warriors strong enough to conquer the sea. But he did not have the perfect alignment. He didn't have someone carrying Ohara's knowledge. He didn't have the technological legacy of the ancient kingdom. He didn't have the people necessary to reconstruct the lost world itself. Roger discovered the truth. But Luffy may possess the personnel needed to finally tear the system down. And suddenly, everything changes. The Iron Giant awakening. The return of Nika. The ancient promises. The Void Century. The destruction of the Red Line. Everything starts converging toward one terrifying conclusion. History itself has spent 800 years rebuilding Joy Boy's crew, one missing piece at a time. And the scariest part? Oda has been building this crew for over 25 years. The swordsman, the navigator, the storyteller, the scholar, the engineer, the protector, the healer, the musician, and the man who carries the dream of unity itself. Because Jinbe represents something the world government has feared since the Void Century, the alliance of different races under one flag. Fishmen, giants, humans, minks. Joy Boy's greatest threat to the world may never have been power. It may have been unity. And Jinbe embodies that better than anyone. And maybe that is the real reason the world government fears the Dawn so much. Because they thought they killed the man. But they failed to destroy the roles Destiny had already cast. The stage is set. The actors have returned. And this time, the curtain may not fall until the entire world is changed. But what do you think? Did Oda intentionally rebuild Joy Boy's ancient crew through the Straw Hats? Or is there another hidden parallel we still haven't noticed? Because if this theory is true, then the dawn may be much closer than we think. And maybe that's the real tragedy of the Void Century. The world government thought they won because they erased Joy Boy's name from history. But they never understood the one thing they could never erase: inherited will. Because you can destroy kingdoms, you can burn books, you can silence history for 800 years, but you cannot stop people from carrying the same dreams into the future. And now, for the first time since the Void Century, all the pieces may finally be back on the board. The Sun God has returned, and after 800 years, Joy Boy's crew may finally be complete. But what do you think? Which Straw Hat has the strongest parallel to Joy Boy's original allies? And is there someone outside the crew, like Nefertari Vivi, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, or even Monkey D. Dragon, who also fits this ancient pattern? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this theory, subscribe, because the deeper we enter the final saga, the more terrifying these hidden connections become.